Interesting. Just thought I was going to spend some time upgrading my rigs. So why not do it live? And I heard it just records and saves into my channel. So I should do more of these when I'm making my rig. So I don't know if you saw recently some of my channel videos. I've been doing a lot of enhancing, upgrading. This is where I got my ideas. So there's this butterfly Shimano metal jigs, and then all of them come with this nice hook that has these shrink wraps right here. Heat shrink tubing on their assist hook, which I thought was very interesting. Pretty cool. So thought I should do a video on how I put them together. So I'll do it live since I'm going to update, kind of improve all my stuff. So these are tricky, these double ones, but single ones are pretty easy. Check them out. You're gonna need, it's easier if you have these little heat guns. So it'll cost you like 15, 20 bucks for it. So if you plan to use assist hook, a lot of them, I would advise getting one of them. Buying one of these makes it so much easier. Hold on for a second. So let's see. I have to set up right here. I'll have to remove. This right here. Just like that. And one of these shrink tube right here, maybe up to here. So about right here is where I need to cut. Give or take. Just cut it right there. Pretty simple. Insert it darkly like that. That's a glow in the dark, so I kind of want to keep that out. What I want to do is protect my capital lines right there up to here, like a bluefish or other fish with some sharp teeth won't go beyond this. Once they get hooked, they'll be pulling mainly right here, so that's where you want to somewhat protect. Just like that. I mean, I bought this for mainly for jigging, but this is going to be very handy moving forward. Gets hot, so something to watch out for. toasty. So that's it. It's pretty simple. Put this back in here. Boom. Just a nice setup right here with the swivel. Oh, it didn't go all the way in. There you go. Just like that. Something I watch out for is making sure these hooks don't hook to each other. So you don't want to make it too long. You don't want to put two hooks that will hook each other when you're jigging. That's something that would prevent you from catching fish and mess up the whole rig. Just like that. You could put a little tube right here too. But I don't know. I think one is more than enough. Hopefully there's no... Oh, actually, let's do this too. Might as well. Something I'm going to be testing on for these, something I'll probably test is trying to catch more flounder with these jigs. What I've noticed is it is catchable if you put the right, for flounder, for any fish, I think if you present it properly, there's definitely, not non-traditional, but that's what I want to try. Break away from traditional bucktail fishing for flounder to metal jig, which is definitely a possibility. I know a lot of people, I mean, some people might tell me the whole purpose of the assist hook is to keep a little bit more flexibility, but I feel like this will more than work, to be honest. Even if it's double. Let's see, I want to make it too loose. I want to make it too short. Just enough that it will protect the Kevlar assist hook. Just like that. Somewhere like that. I hope this plastic doesn't melt. That's good enough. I kind of like this. It's almost like one of those tog jigs, right? Put two hooks. I could always turn this a little bit outward, other way around, just like that. A metal jig this way. But that'll definitely protect the line. It's not going to be perfect, but not too bad. I wish somebody would come up with a better tool to put these assist hook into the split ring. Are there any tools better than this? I know most people use their plier with this little tooth right here, plier tooth to open this up, but there has to be a better tool. But yeah, that's it. Yeah, pretty cool. So simple. I mean, if you guys are wondering about this Ginsco, it has many different sizes right here. I think you could double up or triple up as well if you want. So this comes standard with, it's called butterfly jig. It comes standard with one hook with this. I should run this right here. It has some opening. Let's see if it warps. It's kind of coming apart. Don't touch this. This gets really hot. So make sure not to touch the middle, but yeah. Then you could put, the option for this is you could put assist hook on here, but I do prefer to put a split ring. Keep it a little bit simple, and then to save cost on my because pack of these, I mean, one assist hook could cost you $1, and do not buy the cheap kind. The one I got, UMT, has a pretty good price and a pretty good quality. That's why I got Uncle Mo's tackle one. There are ones with, there are cheaper ones that you could get in a bulk, but they're going to cut. I don't think they use Kevlar, at least a good kind, so it's not going to last. The hook's not that great either. You want to get a high quality hook that's going to last for a while. Here, probably because it's a bigger jig, I'll go with this 5.0 wide gap ball eye, so I could set the hook. Red color, kind of like the red color. Just like that. So you have assist hook up here, and then just the middle right here. I mean, not middle, split ring and a hook, 5.0. And I do want to put here a swivel. Definitely recommend it. I've noticed traditionally you don't put it, and like I described in the past video, you don't want a tension with the, I mean, you do want a tension, but once it's hooked, the fish will most likely spin and turn and try to get away, and you don't want a resistance. You kind of want the fish to just swing around as much as they want, but without swivel, there is somewhat of a tension resistance here. So to eliminate that, I would add a swivel, smaller one if possible. Again, this isn't scientific. I was watching one of the someone from Oregon fishing for squid, and a lot of time the squid will spin, somewhat spiral, and it will come off easily. So to prevent it, they put a swivel. This fisherman put a swivel, and then that kept that took away any, I guess, resistance from the squid from pulling itself off by turning and turning and getting some kind of resistance. So what it does is it makes it turn, but stay stuck in the hook. So this, so when you're jigging, you want this to spin as much as it can, right? You want it to be a flasher somewhat as it goes up. As it goes up, you want it to spin a little bit, get its attention. When it comes down, you don't want it to just come down like this, but you want it to come turning if possible. And then the swivel, I think it definitely gives that presentation. So. Those are two so far. Let's see. There's another one. This will fit. Let's go with something bigger. Where is that? I need to go get me. Right back. Can't find that. Another one. we go. Definitely give you a little extra protection, I would say, for your jig. And then I feel like, like I said, Shimano is taking the lead with how they have their assist hook with their jigs. I think everybody's going to follow suit. The Kevlar itself is not as, I guess, hardy, rugged. So just having this shrink tube will most definitely help. Look at that. Only thing, I mean, I tried to find a shrink tube that is more glow in the dark. That would help too. Look at that. Not too bad. Definitely do this for towel fishing too, with the bigger hook. Then, again, putting a swivel is a must. And fishing using jig. It's interesting in the US. I've been using just even recently, as in like 2-3 years ago, people were wondering what kind of, I was using a jigging rod, and it's kind of somewhat medium light, medium heavy, and they look almost like a bass rod, right? And people were just kind of laughing or talking among you. You could hear them talking about how I was using a ultralight tackle, and then they were wondering why I was wasting my time with slow pitch jig. Well, I mean, they didn't even know what this was, because most people are used to this one's like a more of a fast. But people were not used to the metal jig. Bucktail was somewhat, at least in the East Coast, it's either regular hook using a fresh bait like this. Oh, this is another thing I'm trying to modify. But most people were wondering, this was like 2-3 years ago. No one was using slow pitch jig or metal jigs. Now everybody's using it if you're fishing for bass as well as bluefish. But come a long way. I mean, jigging reels and jigging rods are something that people are noticing these days. If you haven't done it yet, you got to definitely try it. It's so much more fun. And then if you fish a lot, you avoid tangling. If I get tangled, I tell the deckhands, mate, just cut the line and pull it out. I'll just retie it. It takes like seconds, rather than trying to untangle all these long lines. That doesn't mean I went away. Traditional live bait always works, but I just have more options. And then I'm trying to catch more flounders with these guys. I could put a flounder belly or even gulp on here. And I don't know if you see my video. The whole trick is doing the same thing, right? With the bucktail, people are always giving some action. So this goes down, and then you give a little bit of a light action for the flounders to come. So I won't do a slow jig with this one, but at the same time, light tap. And I've caught a lot of flounder with it. You just have to have the right bait. And then when it's drifting, it'll drift like this, but you'll be able to not only flounders, but I've caught porgies. Bluefish is super easy to catch with this. One of the reasons I'm modified with the shrink tube is to avoid bluefish cutting through the line. The Kevlar line, doesn't matter how thick it is, they'll cut through it. This isn't bluefish or any like ribbonfish proof, but then it does help you prevent it from losing as well. It's pretty stiff. Once it cools down, it gets pretty hard right here. And then you could always get tubing that are a little bit thicker, and you have a lot of different varieties as well. Let me show you how. I got quite a few more to go with. Right here, here's another one. Yeah, this is impossible to take out. I don't know why they put such thick. I mean, I guess for tuna fishing, this split. All right, I'll come back to that later. Let's do this first. Actually, on this one, I like to keep it simple. I don't want it too long, so I'll put the longer size one tends to attract more larger fish, I've noticed. And you'll be surprised if you're fishing for black sea bass, they will go after this and they'll be able to. I was a little bit surprised. If you don't, I'm not sure if you saw my last video, but they'll swallow the spot, the big one. So if you're going for 13 inches, this is a little bit big, but if you're aiming for the jumbos, like 18 inch, 20 inches, they will swallow this, whether from the head. So that's why you need a assist hook on the head side, or the tail. They'll just slurp it up. They'll try to swallow the whole thing. You won't be able to swallow it, pretty sure, because it's hard, but just having a hook, bait, pretty good action, it'll work. Anybody wondering why I'm doing it like this? Last 2 weeks, this month, 2 trips that I went on, sea bass trip, a lot of blues. I'm not talking about, 12, 15 inch blues. We're talking about 20 plus inches blues, bluefish, and then they'll cut through these double Kevlar. Yeah. My buddy, Angler Crew, if you haven't seen his channel, he had lost pretty expensive, quite expensive rigs. It's like $60 worth of rigs on his last trip. That's what you do. But put this on. I'm gonna try this as well. So one of what I started doing is I would have these double loop hooks right here. Wanted to kind of enhance it, make it a little bit more stiff, I guess. And then if it does get tangled with other anglers, it's a little bit easier to untangle because you don't have these double lines for hooks to get hooked on. And then the glow in the dark, that's the mystery, right? Does it really work? Does it? Doesn't it work? Or maybe it doesn't work. These tubes are glow in the dark. You could get, if you type glow in the dark tubes, you could get them. I put it at the speed on purpose, but let me see. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit of a red color right here. I don't think I need that. I gotta be careful with this because I don't want to melt take this off. Doing a live stream. Oh, I'm surprised anybody's watching this. Maybe one or two of my friends. You do that, and then let's see. I haven't done this. I'm doing it live. It could melt through the line. I got to be careful. Shrink wrap. There you go. Not too bad. Maybe I should get it longer. I should have gotten it longer, a little bit longer. Right here, up to here maybe. But this is pretty cool. Just like that. I have many ideas with these string tube. It's kind of interesting. If you guys are wondering again, mini hot air gun. When I used to be in the army, I used to own a couple of these when polishing my boots. If you're in the army, if you're a veteran, you would know exactly what I'm talking about. It's kind of cheating, but you had to use this too. And back in the late 90s, 2000, I used to use these to melt the wax, to polish it like glass. I should have kept it, but now it's so much cheaper. It's like 15 bucks on Amazon. This one is Seek One. Same for this. I tried circle hook for sea bass. I don't use circle hook as much, but I kind of like to set my hook. So circle hook wasn't working that well for me. I'm going back to regular octopus hook for my fishing. I do like to put two sizes. This one is 2.0, and then this is 6.0 or 7.0, a little bit bigger. Hold on, to put a little bit longer this time. Cover this. I haven't done live, so I have no idea if anybody's leaving a comment. Chat section. I don't even know how to check. How do you? So here you go. I'm going to wrap it all the way up here, overlap through this tube, as well as my line. And you just need to shrink wrap it and turn it. Shrink a little bit more. Is it too much? Yeah. Three hooks, one line? No. What's 3 hooks in 1 line? There you go. This will keep the hook in there. But if you're trying to change hook, you're stuck with this. No idea what 3 hook in one line is. So this one is a 60 UMT 60 grams. So I like to have 60, 80. This one is about 150. And then I think well, like 200 gram is the heaviest I'll go. Let me see. I take this out. Take these guys out. Oh, I see. Yeah, the treble hook, definitely. Three hooks attached to single main line. Dropper, rope rig. Cool. Yeah. I usually stay at 2 hooks. And again, I fish mainly, I guess if you're surf fishing, that would work. Boat fishing, the biggest enemy is, at least on the East Coast, fishing out of Maryland or Delaware, the boat fishing, deep sea fishing, yeah, the biggest enemy is getting tangled. And if you only have one rod, it could be a mess. So at max, I try to keep it with 2 hooks. But lately, I've been just sticking to slow pitch or just metal jigs. Again, like I said, you have your leader on here, and most of the time, if you do get a bad tangle because somebody has like a crazy metal, the biggest, yeah, there are people that still use mono on their line instead of braid and fluorocarbon. They do use, if you're gonna fish out of Ocean City or Delaware, in deep sea fishing, you're expect a lot of tangles. But if you have one of these metal jigs, you could fish like anything else. You could I do put fresh baits on here. You don't want to put too much because that's going to somewhat mess with the action that it gives, and it'll go down slower. So you want to put as least resistance. So if you want to drop faster, I would say stick to just 1 hook. 1 hook is fine. And I've seen it, again, they'll swallow the whole thing. You'll be surprised how well they swallow the black sea bass. Any sea bass, bluefish, they'll go for the whole thing. They're not, the small ones will kind of like somewhat bite the tip of it, but then the big fish that you want to keep, a keeper fish, they're going to swallow the whole thing. So like sometimes if you want this to drop faster or you want to avoid tangle just because you want to enjoy it, fishing and not have to deal with so much tangle, just go with 1 hook and then with the metal jig and fluorocarbon. So as soon as you get tangled, tell your mate, or you could just cut it, pull out the fluorocarbon, and then have them deal with the rest of the tangle, and then you reattach and throw your hook in there or get another fishing rod. How big is too big of a hook for? You know what? I've always thought 6/0 knot was sort of the max, but I found out last trip there was someone, Navy veteran, that I was talking to, and he brought a big. Doesn't mean that's the way to go. He was catching a lot of jumbo, and then he said he had a bunch of spot that he caught from the shore before, and then he brought it. And I mean, the spots that you catch on the shore, it's about this size. I would say, size of one of these, like a big screwdriver, right? And then he just chopped the head off and the tail, and then on a 6/0, he hooked it. And so I tried it. I was like, I wasn't a believer, so I said, fine. He kept insisting. He was like, hey, I was getting keeper, like The biggest one was 16 inch, so 13 to 16 inches. But the guy was getting like 18, 20, 22 inches. And I was like, okay, there are big fish there. I need to get a big fish. And the only thing we had was a clam. So he gave me the big chunk. I put it on there, and guess what? I caught like a 18 or 19 inch sea bass, and it actually swallowed the whole thing. So, yeah, the big or small, I think it's up to you. But I don't think there is a such thing as. I mean, I would say don't use a tuna hook, right? But big size, I think you could go up to like a 7.0 easily, and you could catch a big fish. Yeah, of course you could use dead fish pieces. Cut baits are allowed, most definitely allowed. You could actually buy it from the bait shop once you get there. Like Judy V, they have a tackle shop that's open. In the refrigerator, they have crab that they sell. They have cut baits. They sell spots. It's a little bit costly. So if squid, different kind of cut baits. They have bluefish, mackerel, cut baits. So, I mean, bluefish, they'll melt. So you want to get cut baits that will stay in your hook. Dead fish from the shoreline. What do you mean by dead fish from the shoreline? Yeah, if you do pick up dead fish from the shoreline, I don't think it's an issue as long as you follow the regulation. So here's another. If it's, I don't know, it's going to depend on if it's like a spot or croaker, and if it's a legal size should be fine. But if you are catching, if you find the dead striper that's under sized or even oversized, and you're not allowed to keep it, yeah, game wardens, you would definitely get in trouble for that. So, but if it's a spot, like a spot or white perch or something like that, there are some limits, but most likely they're not going to bother you over that. You could just cut them up. Even bluefish, you could most likely, if it's a dead bluefish, or even bluefish you catch, as long as you could fillet it and you keep the body of the fish, and if it's a keeper size, I mean, the worst thing that will happen is for them to ask you where the rest of the fish is, and you just show them, and then they'll check the size, and if it's a legal limit, it should be fine. But yeah, if it's like a 20-inch striper that's dead because somebody caught and released it and then it died and you're caught with that, and if a game warden asks you, that probably wouldn't be legal. And then you want to use, you don't want to use, yeah, you don't want to use, like any bait, any animal, if you're trying to attract fish, you want fresh bait that was frozen or maintained, something that you could for example, if you have a goldfish, you're not going to give some rotten, like nasty bait, and it's not going to eat it. You want to feed something that is freshly available, that will most likely bite. I've had instances where I used old, maybe a squid cut strip, and then it wasn't. I think it wasn't that fresh, and then the fish weren't biting. It was just not biting, most likely because the bait wasn't fresh and rotten, and the fish just didn't want to bite. So you want to use fresh baits rather than. So this is, I just wanted to show you, this is something you don't want to do right here. This is a little bit too long. And then this will get tangled. And once it gets tangled like this, it's useless. It's not going to work. What you want to do is you want to keep these as far as possible when you're jigging, so it doesn't get tangled. Once it gets tangled, the action is not going to be the way this is working. It's not going to work as well. So like this size of jigs, I'll probably put this as is. I probably wouldn't put another one. Maybe I might put something small. I found this octopus hook. It's called Lucky Fishing. Kind of like it. Like how it's somewhat jagged. It's not a traditional round hook. This is called Octopus Hooks Professional V Lucky Fishing. Like this, but you put this size right here. Most likely won't hook right here. You see how it goes right here? I'll show you how it looks. But if you have a size like this, size of your finger, maybe your middle finger, the fish could swallow the whole thing. So obviously, like yellow fin, yellowtail, or even like tuna, they'll swallow this. But the hooks, if it's a big one, the hooks will bend. So these hooks, if you have tunas around, I would suggest getting going to a tackle shop and ask for a rig for tuna, like tuna hooks, something that won't bend. But like that, like this, right here. Most likely, it's not going to, no matter what you do, most likely it's going to be very hard to hook up with each other. It has to be a certain angle, but when you're jigging up and down, you'll have bites down here. If it bites, you're going to hook it from down here. If it goes for the eyes, for the head, you'll be able to swing this up. As you feel the bite, you just jig and hook this just like that. Oh yeah. Those death fish that was on the concrete dock. Yeah, it should be fine. They don't really care for those. They only care for a lot of the game warden. They'll check for. They don't care. They don't really care about those small perches and stuff like that. Any of those cut baits, you should be fine. It doesn't hurt to. These days, you could just Google. You could just ask a warden or people at the pier or shoreline they'll tell you. Anybody have any other questions? Let me see. Anyways, I think I'm done for now. I got a lot more jigs that I'm going to have to set up, but it's pretty cool having. It's kind of fun making jigs, like improving my jigs with these little heat gun and these tubes. So if you haven't already, go get some, or if you have someone in your family. My jig, well, it depends. I think I use the improved, what is it? Improved knot? I can never. Polymer knot is one of the ways to go. Those are good. Polymer knot. And then improved, what's the word? Improved knot. I'll show you how. I don't have it. Maybe I'll do a video on that one, or next live. What kind of tie knots that I use. But I have to go. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. And then, what? I just use. Sometimes I use polymer, but I use the improved clinch knot is what I use. So you could Google it. Improved clinch knot is you put the line through here about 6 times, and you take the line, do the loop, and then it creates a loop, and you put through that loop, and you just tighten it. You don't need to have any complex knot. Improved clinch knot will hold. Your line will break before it comes off. Polymer knot is, if this one is a little bit harder to do polymer knot, so you would do a polymer knot using a swivel. That's my dog. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll talk to you guys later, and I should do more of these. All right, thanks for watching, Tyler and Johnny.